Hello and welcome back to Guff Stuff Weekly Podcast. I'm Javen. I have with me today
Guff
and
Fluffy.
We're going to talk a little bit today about Cyberpunk, the setting, the role-playing game, mostly the tabletop role-playing game, I think, which is Cyberpunk Red, right?
That's the newest edition, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they have an older edition, don't they? Is it just called Cyberpunk or?
I think the first edition was called Cyberpunk, then Cyberpunk 2020.
Oh,
okay.
Have you looked at those before?
I looked a little bit at some of the older books for inspiration material because they get referred to a lot if you want things like
Lore.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like they have books for different settings. Like I think there's a Texas book.
Oh, nice.
Oh, cool.
What? I want the Texas book.
Yeah, Cyberpunk, Texas. Let's go.
Yeehaw!
So, what is Cyberpunk Red?
So Red is continuing on in the timeline, but not as far as where the video game is.
Okay.
So the last Cyberpunk edition was Cyberpunk 2020, and it was set in 2020.
Okay.
Obviously, the video game is in 2077 because that's
the only reason Cyberpunk Red's out because of the video game, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Yeah, I know.
That's a misconception a lot of people get.
It is because CD Projekt Red,
Right.
Cyberpunk Red.
Like,
that's what I thought too.
Yeah. Well, of course. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense, but that's not why.
But then Cyberpunk Red is in between the two, where it's in 2045. So I think it was in 2024 or 2025 there was another
nerd
corporate war, and that was the big nasty one. It turned into Arasaka versus Militech. It didn't start that way, but that's how it ended.
Oh, okay. So before we get too far now,
Yeah.
what is the genre of Cyberpunk Red? Like what starts it? We know like fantasy games like D&D and Pathfinder, they're all fantasy worlds.
Right. Yeah.
Why? Where does Cyberpunk start? Like, is it post-apocalyptic? Is it just what happens to the world after we become delinquents and ruin it?
So if you've seen things like Total Recall, Matrix, Ghost in the Shell, it's a lot of that same kind of thing.
So it's just
Blade Runner.
basically the future.
Yeah.
If we keep going down the path we're going.
An alternate.
Yeah, it's dystopian future.
An alternate Earth timeline.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's cool.
So like if corporations actually did run everything, and in the Cyberpunk tabletop there are actually corporations that have private armies.
Okay.
And that's what the corporate wars were.
I'm fairly familiar with that some of that stuff. I wasn't familiar with what the setting took place. I was a competitor fan, so which we won't talk about. We'll talk about that in another system.
Well, we can compare them a little bit. I mean, it might be beneficial to some people who know.
That's true. Well, yeah,
a
that's
little bit
true.
about Shadowrun.
Yeah.
Shadowrun. Yeah, that was the one I played when I was considerably younger, man. And that's a little different. See, but it's probably a little harder, the learning curve for that one, because it's kind of a nightmare and it's just kind of a clunky system. And I don't think anybody's ever played Shadowrun would say that it was a clean system. Difference between the two, though, is from what, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, is Cyberpunk does not have magic like druids and elves and all the fancy stuff. It's literally...
It's more cyberware.
Yeah.
That might have that effect.
Have the effects of magic.
Right. With Shadowrun, it's like the world... If you ever watch Netflix, watch the movie Bright. It is Shadowrun 101. I'm telling you right now. And if you watch any of the outtakes and the little after clips, they'll tell you it's Shadowrun, because one of the orcs is like, hey, you want to play some Shadowrun? Okay, that's what they're getting at. But they won't tell you that because, well... But anyway, yeah, that's the biggest difference, I think, between the two. So.
Yeah. Okay, so back to the Red timeline.
Right.
Yeah. This takes place for those who have played 2077 and are familiar with Cyberpunk lore, it's in that timeline of like Johnny Silverhand and the nuke going off in Arasaka Tower and all that fun stuff, right?
It's actually after that.
After that, okay.
Because Johnny Silverhand, the nuke, that was a little after the 2020 edition. That was like some stuff that they had written, and that was some stuff that they gave to CD Projekt Red when they made the video game, so they had the timeline to work with.
Okay.
And then the Red tabletop is like 10, 20 years after that corporate war was over. And Red is referring to what was the time of Red, which I think was in the 2030s or something around that, or after the war was done. The sky was like red for I think a few years from all the fallout. because there were nukes going off. There were whole cities being blown up. There were things falling from space.
Wow.
It got really nuts.
Really wild.
Yeah.
For reference, this podcast takes place in 2023. We got 7 years to get this figured out, boys.
7 years to figure it out. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the tabletop RPG a little bit. What have you brought for us?
Yeah.
So, Red is quite a bit different than the 2020 version. I haven't played 2020, but what I've gathered is that it is extremely streamlined. Because
Red is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because 2020, it was kind of reminiscent of how, like, some of the European tabletops are, where you roll a hit, roll to see if you penetrate, roll it, like resist, and then the actual damage. And it's very crunchy, a lot of math.
A lot of math, okay.
And so now it's just you roll a hit against your range table.
Yep.
And then if you hit them, then you figure out their armor. Or maybe you don't roll against the range table. Maybe they're, going to evade it. But that's more of a nuanced thing.
And what kind of system is this?
This is D10 and die 6, and that's it.
So it's its own system, its own rule set? Or is it based off of like a die 20 modern, or it's not like anything like that?
No, as far as I know, I think it's just... I think they went through a few different systems, and they're trying to find the most simple, easy to grasp system without making it too complicated.
Okay.
Well, I can tell you for sure that if you make something easy to play, people will play it.
That's true.
I mean,
Yeah.
It becomes mainstream, Watsy.
Because I listened to quite a bit of this other guy's podcast that he did with one of the developers.
Podcast.
Okay. It was a Night City Council from John the Wise. He had one of the main game designers. See if I can remember his name. But one of the things they talked about was how they wanted it to be, easier to pick up and not. James Hutt, that was his name.
Okay.
He also works on some of the other games, but anyway. So he did so much number crunching just to figure out just things that wouldn't make it too complicated, wasn't too many steps, things that wouldn't make other people at the table bored, feeling like they had to go get something to eat.
While you're figuring out if you hit.
Exactly.
Okay.
Shadowrun never did that.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
And like,
how many net hits do you have over there?
Yeah, I never shot anybody with a minigun 300 times.
Any glitches over there?
Well, that was actually another thing they changed was how autofire works.
Okay. Yeah, and I can talk a little bit about this because when you auto fire, you go to hit a DC, and if you get over that DC, depending upon how well you succeed, is how many times you hit, or how many bullets and damage you do. Right?
Not exactly.
Okay, so refresh that for me.
So autofire has a higher DC because it's harder to do, but basically, the standard rule is that you spend 10 bullets to autofire an weapon that can autofire, and however much you exceed that check by is how much you multiply your damage by.
Oh, you multiply it, yeah. So it's a higher damage.
Because it's always 2d6 that you roll for autofire. But then for each weapon that can autofire, they have a autofire value. Like, I think assault rifles are 4. So that would mean that the maximum amount you can multiply it by is 4.
Oh, wow.
Which can be a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's 2 to 12 times 4.
Yeah.
So up to 48 damage.
Exactly.
Wow.
And something that this system has is there's no levels.
Right, yeah, I noticed that about it as a player.
So you don't really increase your hit points unless you get cyberware that can augment one of your stats.
Like a linear frame.
So you just level up your skills? Is that what you're doing?
You can level up your skills, but not your core stats. There are things that can change that.
Well, I think... Oh, no. I don't play current anything that related, so I can't even quote that anymore.
So, what kind of classes are available for character creation?
So I think there's 9.
Speak nerd, newbie nerd.
Yeah.
That way I can understand too. Because I don't do a lot of sci-fi yet, so...
So we've got...
Stars Without Number I did, but that's different.
Yeah, that's fairly different, yeah. That's far future.
But there is a Cities Without Number, which is... based off of like Cyberpunk. That's
Oh, that's
exactly, and one of their descriptions was,
Okay.
oh yeah, we wanted to have a Cyberpunk themed for Stars Without Number, so they made this thing called Cities Without Number.
Okay.
So it might be interesting to try.
Yeah.
It's based on the Stars Without Number rules, but anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
We'll let you get back to it.
So I guess the basics of the basic is the solo. That's like your merc for hire.
Okay.
And with, I guess I'll preface this, all the roles for the classes, they're not as limiting as other systems usually make classes,
Right.
because you have like a certain set of abilities you get, but that doesn't lock what skills you can get.
Right, and I noticed that as a player, like, I play a solo in the game, which is your merc for hire, your fighter, quote unquote.
Right. Yeah.
To draw a parallel to D&D.
Yeah, you're good at fighting.
You're very good at fighting and combat. You're not good at much else, but you can build to be good at other things.
Exactly.
Then you get your hand cut off.
Yeah, then you get your hand shot off, like I did.
Or yeah, shot off, sorry. Yeah, that's right.
But like
I was listening to that one.
my solo in the game has very high sneaking skills, very high pickpocketing, lock picking. So they're very roguey as well.
Yeah.
They're very reminiscent of a D&D rogue.
Yeah.
1 second. If you hear the really crazy noise, it's from our neighbors next door. The business is next door to us. I'm not sure what they're doing over there, but it's really weird. Just letting you know. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
But yeah, the solo, you can put points to make yourself more perceptive, have faster initiative, do more damage, things like that, and you can keep changing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got your tech, where they got a lot of love in this edition, especially compared to the last edition, from what James Hub was saying.
Okay.
It's very open-ended, and you can do things where you can... It's kind of like your tinker all around. You can invent things, you can be the repair guy, you can just make things for much cheaper than if you could buy them. You can jerry-rig things, make things work when they're broken.
Do you have a player that plays that?
I do.
Okay.
Sprocket.
Sprocket.
Sprocket, that's
right.
Nice.
Yeah. He has a lot of things that he wants to make. I don't think he has enough time in game to make everything he wants. Because like he wants to do something where it can't remember what it's called, but he wants it to look like a toolbox, and he wants it to be able to throw on the ground and like kick it once and have it be like a pop-up blockade. So that like if he wants to go and give first aid to someone, he can run up, throw it down, give himself cover.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
And it's so easy to do
Rules
that.
legal.
Yeah.
Well then, there you go.
Yeah,
Rules
because it's basically just like, okay, ask your GM what this would cost, you put it in that category, and that's basically all the work you have to do, because it tells you how much time it'll take. Tell you how much it costs to make all that
So
stuff.
the crafting's pretty robust.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And what things the rules do give you that you can do, like for tech inventing, no one else can do that.
Right.
They
So
have
that's what makes these unique.
class-specific stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's what makes it so that each player feels valued.
Yeah, I noticed that in the game, that every player has their role.
Yeah.
And it's not like there's a crossover where like the solo is really good at or can spec into building things.
Right.
Like if you want to build things, you play attack.
Exactly.
Okay.
You play a game where you make your players feel valued? What? No, it's against the rules.
Yeah.
And in a game like
Damn
Cyberpunk, that is also valuable because you're not supposed to be playing a good guy necessarily. You can play whoever you want. There's no alignment system.
Well, I think in a game like that, being a dystopian future, alternate Earth, whatever, I think after nuclear war, there's no right and wrong anymore.
Yeah, no.
I think it's just survival.
There's some people that try to be good,
Well, no, I mean you could. Well, right,
but
but
it's not guaranteed.
even after nuclear war, I can say I'm going to be good, but the first guy that comes down my driveway is probably getting shot. Why? I mean, I'm not trying to be rude, but got to make an example for everybody else that comes down the driveway.
Exactly.
After that, I'll be nice. I'll go out there and offer them coffee and tea or something.
Yeah.
Could be corporate spy. You don't
But
know.
I mean, that's what I like about like Cyberpunk Shadowrun is you can play it, and it's not even called evil. Like you can just play the guy that just wants to go up for his own reasons, and you're not forced into an alignment. You're literally gonna go beat the big corp, because who doesn't like beating on the big corps?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, nice corporation.
Or you can go work for the big corp.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, you go out.
There's a class for that.
Yeah.
You go out and work for the big corporation. You go in, you steal their stuff from them, and then you get paid by both ways. Like, that's awesome.
What other classes we got?
Okay.
Well, I guess we'll talk about the exec since that got brought up.
Exec as an executive?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or in the video game, they're called corpo.
Corpo? Yep.
So basically,
Glad they call them executives in the game. Corpo sounds so dorky. Sorry, I'll quit interrupting. I apologize.
That's fine. So the exec is basically, you work at a corporation. In character creation, you figure out with the GM what that corporation is. You can totally make it up. It could be one that's already in the game. It doesn't really matter. But in that corporation, you have a decent enough position where when you start out as an exec, you get a team member. So
Yeah.
basically a goon, but you choose what kind of employee he is.
Okay.
As like bodyguard. You can have a driver. I think there's a
Netrunner.
Yeah, the netrunner. I believe there's also a tech, and maybe
Are these also classes, right?
Yeah.
Runners and techs.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Is a goon a class?
No.
Oh,
That'd be solo.
okay.
Pretty much.
So
yeah.
what you're playing? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that explains a lot.
Yeah, I'm just playing a goon.
I mean, that explains a lot. Okay.
But then as you get higher in it, you get more perks from your corporation. Like you can get health insurance, because that's actually a thing. And when you get health insurance,
Why? This is dumb. Can you get health insurance in real life? Why?
Yeah,
Why do we have to do health insurance in the game?
why do I need health insurance in Cyberpunk Red?
Oh, yeah, you get your hand shot off. That's right.
well, because this is the cool health insurance where I think the two versions they have is silver and platinum. But either way, when you get hurt enough, you either call or have your biomonitor call the trauma team.
They just show up.
They come in an AV or an air vehicle, and they come with guns, and they evacuate you to the hospital.
Nice.
Nice.
Wonder how long till we get that. Okay. I'm gonna start that tomorrow.
Get your very own paratroopers.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Other classes. Races. Or wait. Yeah. Oh, wait.
Classes.
Classes. Okay. Sorry. I'm trying to figure out what game we're playing here or talking about.
Well, related to the trauma team, there is the medtech,
Nice.
Okay.
where originally in Cyberpunk 2020, I believe, was just an offshoot of tech.
Okay.
But now they made it into its own role.
Which
Where-
is probably good, because if you're, this is from not playing ever this game, but I do know that if you're playing other games, D&D for example, you know that in any other fantasy game for the most part, there's always a healer. Like
Yeah.
you're playing video games, there's always a healer.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have a healer class. If that's
Exactly.
what that tech is, a med tech would be a healer
Yeah.
class. Okay.
Yeah. So things they can do is they can make pharmaceuticals. No one else can do that. You can't even buy them anywhere. Even if you could,
Oh,
only medtechs can administer them. As
that's a racket.
Yeah, imagine D&D
Wait.
where you can't drink your health potion. You have to have the cleric give you your health potion.
The freak.
That goes back to making each role actually.
Make
Value.
a difference. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, that's kind of nice though. I
Yeah.
kind of like that.
And then they can do things like have a cryo system so everyone can heal faster.
Okay.
Because it's not, like D&D 5th edition. You don't
Just
heal overnight.
Sleep overnight and you're
Yeah.
done. Okay.
Yeah, it
So
takes
takes
a long time to heal.
Yeah.
gotcha.
Because, Cyberpunk is gritty.
Yeah.
Which it should be.
When you die, you die. You're not coming back.
Oh, well, no cloning.
Okay, so that's an interesting thing. If you want to go into lore.
Well, I mean, I'm just curious. There's gotta be something to do with cloning, right?
So as far as cloning whole people, I don't know if there's that. But for cloning body parts, that is totally a thing, and it's
Nice.
super cheap.
Did you get your hand back then? Is that what you
No, I went with the cyber hand.
Of course.
Yeah, he had the option because it only costs $50 in game to get a spare limb.
Oh.
But it costs 100 credits.
So
Or
you
sorry,
went the cheap
100,
route.
100 eddies. My bad.
Eddies. Oh, they're called Eddie. I don't know what they're called.
Eurobucks
Yeah,
or
Eurobucks.
Oh,
100 eddies to get a cyber hand. So I'm like, yeah, I'll go chrome.
EB.
nice.
So pharmaceuticals, they have cryo and surgery. That's another one.
Yep.
Because surgery makes it so you can heal people's critical injuries and you can install cyberware for them, which is really useful. especially if you can salvage cyberware from the junkyard, or if the guy you just killed has a really awesome piece of cyberware.
Yeah.
So I guess another way you might acquire that cyberware is from a fixer,
Okay.
which is another one of the roles. That's your guy that knows a guy.
The face.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think they actually call it the fixer in Shadowrun too.
I think it's the
Oh, they
face
do?
in Shadowrun.
No, pretty sure it's a fixer.
Could be.
Not gonna argue though.
I don't know.
I'm gonna win. No, I'm gonna get yelled at, one of the two, but by nerds.
So the fixer, they're the guys that get you the jobs. They might be NPCs that you meet, or in your party, if you have a fixer, they'll be the ones that help you buy expensive stuff.
Yeah.
Because per the book rules, you cannot buy anything that is more than $100, I think, by yourself.
Yeah. You have to know a guy who knows
The
a guy.
freak.
So you can buy, like a heavy pistol or something, because I think it's only 100. But if you want to buy an assault rifle, you need a
Need
fixer.
to know a guy.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
because they cost 500 for a standard one.
We have a fixer in our party, and she is very useful,
Yes.
especially when we acquire things and want to sell them.
Yeah, because this game is referred to as poverty simulator sometimes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because you pay for rent, you pay for lifestyle, your food,
Yeah.
and you can run out
Good.
of
Make
pretty
them suffer a
fast.
little. You need to make your players suffer.
On like a little aside, I actually kind of like that because in D&D you have the economy problem
Yeah.
of, well, we have all this gold. What do we do with it?
Exactly.
But
And
in Cyberpunk, you don't have that problem because
No.
you have to pay your rent, you have to pay your food, you
Buy
have to pay for your
ammunition.
medical bills.
yeah, because I think it's 500 or 1,000 for the health insurance.
Yeah,
if
and then
you don't get it from exec.
or to get therapy.
Oh yeah, that's right, therapy. Yeah.
But we can talk about that in a little
Yeah,
bit. We should
exactly.
keep going on these classes.
So I will say for the GM side, fixer might need a little work depending on how you want to run it. I found some good homebrew stuff for being able to sell things without it just being, oh yeah, you sell this.
Mm-hmm.
So that way it's like you have to find a guy.
Makes it interesting.
Yeah. There might be complications. They might pull a gun on you. Things like that.
Fixers always bring a solo with you to your sale.
That's a pro tip right there.
Pro tip.
And they can also set up what they call night markets.
Yeah.
Where they get together with other fixers and they get things that are hard to get. And then anyone can go there and buy things. Some of you also have the Nomad.
Yep.
They're valued for having vehicles and being able to drive them extremely well.
Yeah.
Because in Cyberpunk Red, vehicles are not a given. They're not a guarantee. And if you want to buy one for what fixers sell them for, they cost tens of thousands of bucks at least. So they're really expensive.
Yeah.
Like if you want to get a beater, it's at least 10,000. If you want to get a nice one, it's
like
gonna be like
real life.
100,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like real life.
Except for, Jaden's vehicles.
Yeah. We don't talk about that.
He likes to make sure he's got him nice $800 vehicle.
And
Somehow
so-
makes it run like a $10,000 one though.
And so something that nomads can do with the vehicles is, I guess, nomads in general, they are a group of people that move around normally. They're kind of like a clan
Yeah.
or like a big nation sometimes.
Yeah.
The Native Americans of the...
No, they're people that left the town cities because
Oh.
they wanted to get away from the corporations.
Oh, so it's not just the whole Earth is not just one giant city.
No.
I don't know. I don't know about Cyberpunk.
For those of you who don't know what that's called, that's an ecumenopolis.
Yep. Just a big word.
That's a big word. That sure is.
And so the nomad can like change out the vehicle. They can upgrade it as they rank up. They can have more upgrades, more vehicles, things like that.
So why aren't they calling them gypsies? Is that because people take offense? Never mind. We won't go down that path.
But that's mostly what the nomad is. Then we got media. That's the one for if your GM really loves lore building and making stories and making newsletters. That's the role you want to play.
Yeah.
Because media is your reporter basically. You make
Yeah.
stories. as for role abilities, I think you get rumors, you can get some facts of things that are going on.
And in our playtesting, we found that they're very good at pissing solos off.
Yeah, they keep asking questions.
Yeah, they can't leave things alone. So if you have a very inquisitive player, or if you are a very inquisitive player, or a DM that might be playing,
Oh yeah,
media sounds like a pretty good class.
yeah, it's very lore friendly.
Yeah.
Nice.
You got Rocker Boy.
Yep. Pretty cool.
Doesn't matter if you're a dude or a chick. It says Rocker Boy.
Yeah.
Because it's actually named after a guy in the lore.
Oh, well, that makes sense then.
And he was called Rocker Boy. He was a musician, and he was like a punk rocker.
Oh boy.
And he became like an activist, like fighting the corporations and bringing them down. And he went down a blaze of glory. So now a bunch of rockers call themselves Rocker Boys.
And what are the characters called in this, like in general?
They're usually called mercs or edgerunners.
Okay.
Edgerunner being, like you're on the edge.
Yeah.
Right. So you're risking it.
Yeah.
To get, either making it big with money or you want to be known.
With reputation, stuff like that.
Yeah. Rocker Boys, their ability is they have fans. And so when you start out, your fan group is smaller. I think when you meet someone, you roll to see if they know you or not.
Yeah.
And if they know you, you can ask them for favors.
Okay.
Depending how well known you are, the type of favors you can ask it can get pretty out of hand once you're the highest rank. So at that point, you can ask them to do anything.
Is that the last of the classes?
There's one more.
Oh, what's that?
Oh, sorry, two more.
Okay.
Netrunner. That's kind of the mage of the game. That's where you get to hack into things virtually and very quickly. And you can use programs. You can, turn off cameras. You can plant a virus, take over turrets, things like that. And that's probably one of the bigger differences from 2020, if anyone played that. Because it used to be you were back in another building and remotely hacking. So they were separate from the whole rest of the group, which was a big turnoff. And it took a long time for the Netrunner to take their turn.
Yeah.
Now they have to be within, I think it's 6 meters of the access point, so they have to be there.
Okay.
And their turns are way faster.
Okay.
Last class?
Last one is Lawman.
Ooh. I actually forgot about this one.
Yeah. So lawmen are like the authorities in Cyberpunk Red. It's not a cohesive law enforcement. They're kind of broken up. So as a lawman, you could be part of the NCPD, the Night City Police Department, or you could be an independent,
like private investigator.
Yeah, it could be private investigator. You could be like a neighborhood protector.
Okay.
Things like that. And what they can do is they can call for backup.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
So you can get like extra henchmen and stuff like that.
Yeah. And it's only a chance that they'll come.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's not a given.
Yeah. And then there's like a certain amount of rounds for them to come.
Okay.
So, and it's going to depend on if your boss likes you. If you call for backup when you don't actually need it.
There's going to be
like
repercussions.
Yeah. But yeah, those are all the rules.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about real quick? We might end up making a part 2 to this.
Yeah. I talk a lot.
It's okay.
I like the system. It's pretty good. I guess maybe touch on something that we kind of talked about a little bit. The alignment thing. There's no alignment, but there is something they call humanity. When you get cyberware, that's one way you can lose humanity. Basically, it's your humanity reflects how together you are mentally.
Okay.
And as you change out cyberware, you get the sense of like, oh, I can just change out my body parts. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Can't remember exactly what they call it, but they have more information in the book for referencing it. But other ways you can get humanity loss is from seeing or doing some really messed up things.
Okay. Yeah, we've had that happen to us before.
Yeah.
We see a bunch of dead bodies and stuff, and all of a sudden you lose humanity.
Exactly. So, like, for an example, another game that I heard about, they were in a cargo plane, and there was this woman there that just woke up. She didn't know why she was there, and they were told by this corporation that no one could know about this operation. And since she wasn't part of the operation, they had to get rid of her. So they decided to shoot her, but not in the head. Shot her in the gut, so she didn't die right away. And they wanted to get rid of her, so they threw her out of the plane. That was humanity lost.
You know, I think there's a real life story about something like that. A lady was in a plane. I don't know if it was like the plane broke in half. She got stabbed with something. And then the plane fell like 30,000 feet. And she still managed to live.
Holy.
Like, that's crazy. Sorry, I know that's off topic, but it's a true story. You gotta look it up.
Yeah.
Gotta Google that.
So, who publishes this?
This is R.Orion.
And where can we find it?
I think it's rtassoriangames.com. I'll have to double check that.
Okay. Is it on like
Find it on
Drive-Thru
Amazon,
RPG and Amazon?
Yes,
and
if you want to buy PDFs, you can buy it on there. Yes, rtassoriangames.com.
Okay.
They sell physical copies on their website, and if you want the digital copies, it's on Drive-Thru RPG.
Awesome. Well, thanks for stopping by and talking about Cyberpunk a little bit. We might have got a little off topic, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Until next time.